if I want to.
You can directly go for CCNP. Earlier, for CCNP, you have to go through CCNA. Only you should have valid CCNA certificate. Then only you can participate in CCNP. But
Yeah,
nowadays,
yeah, there is no prerequisite
there is
anymore.
no
Praful,
You could just take
hello,
CCIE directly.
and even CCNP
hello,
syllabus is getting updated right
hello,
soon. Yes, Haruna.
hello,
It
hello,
is.
Praful. Praful, I heard somebody said on YouTube that if you are trying to get an entry level job, it's better to get the CCNA, because if you present yourself with CCNP without experience, you might get a job, but most likely the hiring people will think that you want more money, and then they're not gonna want to hire you. Even with the certification, without no experience, it's not going. They're now gonna want to hire you because they will think that you want. That's what somebody said on YouTube, and it made a lot. It made sense, you know.
Correct,
Well,
correct.
yeah,
Aaron,
yes.
which sites you should go to enroll for the exam?
So it's Pearson view,
Pearson VUE.
Pearson view.
Pearson view.
Can you type it on
Yes,
the
CCNP in core syllabus,
yes.
I think Cisco is removing wireless part from the CCNP in core in the
I
please
heard
March.
do
that one.
type it on the comments so that I
Okay, no
can.
problem.
Prafal, the
Uh,
new CCNP is coming out in March. It's going to be.
Yeah,
It's
in
going to
the
have
March.
more multicasting.
No, 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 no. Rest all the syllabus are same only. Wireless part is removed. Nothing else. Wireless is removed. If you want wireless in your certificate, then you have to pass CCNP before March. I will check the syllabus later. Yeah, from the Cisco website also you can schedule the exam, sir. Directly, like if you will search in the browser, CCNA exam, CCNA 200301. From here itself you can book the exam, schedule your exam. Mm, 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 mm. We are
You
done
would
with
also have
syllabus
to. You have to have your Cisco account as well. Like you
and
can't.
schedule
yes,
your
that's me.
exam.
Ready? Perfect.
Ready for test, schedule exam. From here you can schedule the exam. Most important thing, before scheduling exam, check this syllabus. Each and every word to be very clear to you. Then only you can pass the exam. Syllabus is same. Cisco is going to ask you question from this syllabus only, but questions are going to be tricky, logical, not straightforward. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is, sir.
In the network fundamental, see, you know the router, you know layer 2 and layer 3 switches. No, na? You guys know.
Yes. Yes.
You don't know the next generation firewall, IPS, IDS, access point controller. You know the endpoint also. You know the server. You know power over Ethernet. You know three-tier architecture, two-tier architecture also. A small office network going to looks like same. On-premises versus cloud. Then okay, today I will talk about cables as well, because let's focus on the designing part, designing and configuring LAN. Then connections like cables and connector, single mode fiber cable, multi mode fiber cable. Anyone can tell me the difference between single mode and multi mode?
Yeah, the single mode fibers are usually used for long range, as opposed to the multi mode is usually short range. Now, single mode or multi mode, they are also like multi mode is usually duplex kind of cables. So one fiber for TX, one for RX. In single mode, you could have a simplex as well. A simplex is a single core fiber which will do both TX RX, for which you will use a BD, a bidirectional SSP. It will only have one hole, essentially a patch fiber too. And you could also have a single mode duplex fiber. So one will be TX, one would be RX. Ideally, when you patch cables, one end, if you patch in one way, the other end, you will swap the polarity. TX becomes RX, that sort of stuff. So you could receive send and receive signals accordingly. Again, there will be connectors with the fibers. You have SC connectors, LC connectors. You could have one end SC, other end LC, or both LC, LC, or SC, SC. So there's those connectors.
If I need to connect through distribution switch, let's say distribution switch 1 and
Yeah.
distribution switch 2, which cable I should use?
Crossover.
If it's a short range within racks to racks, ideally you should go with multi-mode.
Let's say both are in different
Short
building,
range. Uh,
building 1, building 2.
so multi-mode range
Still
is
multi-mode.
550 meters at max, whereas single mode can go kilometers until you use a amplifier to regenerate signal. But in short, if it's between the buildings, you should prefer single mode over multi-mode because the cable length will be longer. So if it's within the rack to rack or a few racks away, as long as it's less than 550 meters, you could get away with multi-mode. Again, within multi-mode, depends what sort of SFPs also that you use. If you're using multi-mode at 10 gig SRs, 550, then there is SR X or there is short range 300 meter SFPs as well. So even though multi-mode may support 550 meter length, some of the SFP modules may not have enough power to throw the signal. So it also matters what sort of SFP you use on both ends. Again, in short, between racks in short range, go with multi-mode. It's cheaper as opposed to single mode fibers. Long range, single mode preferable. Again, single mode can be used in both scenarios. It's just that it's just a preference. If you're going longer, then prefer single mode over multi mode.
Distance is 60 meter. Then
Still, multi mode or single mode. Again, they both support. It's just the preference and the expense of the cable.
can I use Ethernet cable?
60 meters, yes, because the Ethernet cables have about 100-meter range.
Which
Up
connector is
until
required for Ethernet cable?
sorry,
Which connector is required for Ethernet cable?
RJ45.
45.
Okay. In the fiber, I can use multi-mode. Which SFP is required?
Uh,
Which
either
SFP I should
if
use?
you're using
850
multi-mode,
nanometer SFP 850.
Yeah,
uh,
I'm using multi-mode fiber.
850 nanometers, those are usually DWDM SFPs. If you know about DWDMs or CWDMs,
Good.
those specific wavelengths matter. But if to answer your question for multimode, you could use GLC MMD, or if you which is a 1 gig SFP, or you could do a 10 gig SR series, which is a short range SR for multimode. If you're going single mode, GLC SMD. Again, then there's LRs usually long range, SRs short range.
Great.
Well, I work in a data center. I work with this technology every day.
Okay, then tell me between data center, if these two, I need to connect to data center
Yeah,
and distance is, let's suppose 6 kilometer.
yeah.
Which cable? Single mode? Which SFP?
Usually single
Single
mode.
mode.
They are
And
usually
10 kilometer SFP or 5 kilometer SFP, whichever is there available for that.
yeah.
And single mode SFP, that will work with the single mode cable, which is yellow color, with 1310 or 1550. Depends on the connector
Yeah,
type.
SFP
you have
SC.
SCSC or LCLC.
LCLT is just it's a mode of connectors. You could doesn't matter. You could do SC or LC.
Correct. Great. And if distance is 50 kilometer?
That is going to be catchy because longer distance, the fiber distributions will have to go through amplifiers. depends what sort of equipment is passing through. Within the transmission equipment, whether you have a CCNA or packet light, depending on what sort of equipment you're using, what's the amplifier. A iridium
Uh,
based amplifier can do 80 kilometers by default, or if you're gonna use a Raman amplifier within your transmission, it can throw the signal up to 400 kilometers. So depending on what sort of transmission equipment it goes, the length may not need signal regeneration, but as you said, 50 kilometers depending on amplifiers that's being used within transmission. Again, transmission fibers are made a lot thicker. They are usually mostly dark fibers are used, like distribution grade fibers. um, those have higher capacity, carries multiple wavelengths, usually terminated on CWDMs or DWDMs, depending on how you split the wavelengths.
So you have knowledge of DWDM as well.
Yeah. I work with them. I work with CWDMs, DWDMs, and transmission equipment, Ciana, and Packet Light.
Oh, good. And let's suppose I have this port, Ethernet port.
Yeah,
Then here, how I will connect fiber?
you might have to use a media converter uh, in place, so you fiber goes in and gives out a Ethernet handoff, or if that device has a uplink port with a fiber SFP port, then you could use that, or you could use a media converter. Fiber goes in, it will give you a Ethernet handoff.
Correct, correct. I can also change the modular.
Then
Okay. So these are our physical layer, right? Below data link layer. We have not talked about physical layer till now much. Today I will discuss this part as well. Then you know these issues, collision, you know the collision. When collision can
yes,
occur,
collisions.
right? Duplex
Um,
mismatch, you know, speed,
oh,
you know, right? In the ether
yeah,
channel also we have discussed like this should be duplex, speed,
yeah,
Ethernet extender should be same, TCP, UDP,
yeah.
IPv4 addressing and subnetting, private and public IPv4 addressing, IPv6 is still pending, right? This part is pending. Then verifying parameters for client operating system, Windows, Mac, Linux. These are wireless part. Then virtualization part, MAC aging time, you know this, MAC address table, frame switching, you know, frame flooding, you know,
Adikam.
MAC address table, you know. So see, you know the 90% topics of fundamentals now. Yes or no? 80%, let's say, you know the 80% of network fundamentals.
Yes.
Means this section is 20% weightage. That means you are prepared with around 15% for the CCNA exam. Similarly, you need to check these all sections. And at the end, when each and every topic is clear to you, very clear to you, with example and lab, then you are ready for exam. Then you can go for exam, and if you will give exam 100 times, you can pass 100 times as well. Then exam will become easy for you. And guys, please put yourself on mute. There is noise. Please put yourself on mute. Yeah. So what I said, like connecting, whenever I need to connect multiple devices, I will use a centralized device called access layer switch. And tell me which cable I will use to connect PC and switch.
Straight.
Straight through cable.
Straight, yeah.
Straight through is Ethernet cable, copper cable.
Yeah.
So why I will use copper cable here if fiber is good, like providing high speed, then why should not use fiber cable here between switch, access layer switch and PCs?
PCs usually don't have SFP ports,
Great.
so you would have to rely on Ethernet. But servers can have specialized line cards with SFP ports. That would be a different case scenario.
Wow.
Again, between different type of devices, the fundamental is different type of devices use straight cable. Same types use cross cable. So if between PC to PC, cross cable.
Really wow. And even fiber cable need more maintenance, costly.
Yeah, yeah.
right? You
Even
cannot
a
bind.
single touch to the fiber tip is going to cause dirtiness into the fiber. You won't see it, but if you use a specialized camera based equipment, you put a fiber in, you could literally see all the particles and even moisture which pass through your uh, thumbprints or fingerprint.
Hmm,
It's going to cause packet loss on a fiber, causes lots of errors.
correct, correct,
And yeah, it's just the cost and the maintenance is a big headache.
correct, correct. Maintenance, and on the PCs you will not have the SFP port as
It's
well,
a yeah.
right? So these are the major three reasons why you will use here copper cable. Which cable? Either I can say copper cable or I can say Ethernet.
Idrisa, can you please mute yourself?
No, if you don't call money no more.
Idrissa, please mute yourself.
That can come boy. We useless boy Danny.
Here you will be using either Ethernet cable or copper cable, and there are two types of copper cable, STP and UTP. What is the difference between STP and UTP?
One is shielded, one is unshielded.
Hmm?
Shielded twisted pair and
Very good.
unshielded twisted pair.
Very good. So here to connect multiple LAN devices through one centralized access layer switch, which cable I should use, STP or UTP? Which cable we generally use in the enterprises, in the data center?
UTPs
UTP.
usually. STP with the specialized shielding, it just reduces noise and avoids the issue of copper if there's any breakage on one, because the copper has four pairs, right?
Very
You
good.
could even just, yeah. So
STP
it's
is
just
actually for outdoor, like when
yeah.
you need very strong cable, which is shielded, right? And even this STP is going to be costly than UTP. So in networking, generally we are using UTP cable. If you will see here images, you can see this shield. I'm talking about this shield. This is what? Shield. Extra layer. Both are same cable only, right? STP or UTP. Both are same, but one is shielded, one is not shielded. And here you can see the cables inside the shield is twisted together. Why? To reduce the interference. To reduce the interference, you can see two cables are twisted together. And here coloring, you can see, right? You don't need to go in deep. You don't need to learn this coloring because you are not going to become the technician, right? You should have idea which cable we are using over here and which kind of issues can be there, right? How you can identify that this is the issue of physical cable or connector. Generally you will be troubleshooting at layer 1, you will be troubleshooting the cable issue or the connector issue only. And if I will show you the UTP, then you can see UTP, right? There is no any shield. Is there any shield? See the difference here,
No.
right? This one is, first one is STP. Generally we are using in outdoor, like let's suppose you have some camera outside, right? And you like surface is rough, you need a strong cable, you can use STP. But in the networking we are using UTP, unshielded twisted pair. How many cables are there?
8.
8, right? 8. Are these 8 used to share or send or receive data? Are these all used to send and receive data?
And they are
No.
TXRX. Some of them transmit power.
4
Depends.
out of 8, 4 cables are used to send or receive data.
Data.
Used for data transfer. How many of you have heard about power over Ethernet? This
Yes,
cable
sir.
can also
Yeah.
transmit the power, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
suppose
yes,
here
sir.
I am connecting one IoT device, a small device, right? And you must have seen these kinds of devices in offices where you will not see any power adapter, correct? It mean what it mean? This device is getting power through switch only. So rest 4 cables can be used to transmit power and for the other purposes. For data transfer, we are going to use 4 cables. And which cable here I will use between access layer switch and PC? That depends on connecting this cable both the end, because the cable will have 2 ends. One is connected on PC, one end is connected on switch, correct? Through which connector?
Yes.
Through RJ45 connector. You can see RJ45 connector, this connector, this connector. You can see the both end, right? So in a state through, anyone have idea how cables are connected?
I remembered long back, I did the cabling thing. There's a specific color code you got to follow.
You're talking
Usually
about the color code?
the color code, one of the green
It's
whites
orange,
usually
white,
gets
orange, white, orange, green, white, blue,
mm,
blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. I think that's the color code.
A
It's
state through means
orange,
what?
white.
Pin number 1 is going to be connected with pin number 1 only on other end,
yeah,
right?
correct.
It is a state and used to connect different types of devices like PC and switch. PC and switch, these two are different types of devices. So whenever you need to connect different types of devices, you will use a state through copper cable. And when you need to connect same category of devices, let's say switch and switch or router and router, you will use crossover
Cross cable.
cross cable.
But Praphul, sometimes if you use straight through cable, it will work.
Yeah, nowadays actually there is a technology, I'm going to tell you that as well, right? Automatically devices can, like, see, 4 cables are used to send data, 4 are unused, so automatically devices can sense the cable. Even in packet tracer, if I am going to connect 2 routers through a straight through cable, then also it will work because of a technology. Let me tell you about that as well. Just a minute.
Sir,
Yes.
is it true? Also, I think I have read that in the book. We can use all the cables, the 8 cables, for the higher speeds.
I will see that, brother. I
It,
don't have.
it means we have. Okay, I'll check it and
I am
I'll,
not expert in the cabling part. This is the reason why I am teaching you it at last.
don't worry.
I know the cabling, but not expert. I will see. See, but what I told you, to connect similar kind of devices, same category of devices like router. Which cable I should use here? Crossover. Where is
It's
crossover?
crossover cable.
Here is crossover cable. But if I will use a straight through, that will also work, right? I should not use a straight through here. I should use crossover, right? But you can see this cable is a straight. Crossover cable will have cross, like see, F0/1 is going to be with crossover. This is what crossover cable, and this is
Okay. It's okay.
a straight through. So if I am going to connect wrong cable here between router 1 and router 2, I should connect crossover, but I have connected what? Straight through. Will ping work? Yes, ping will work. Data can be still transferred because devices can automatically make this cable to crossover. You have used a straight through. Sorry, you have used a straight through, and devices routers is automatically going to make it no cert IP address. Maybe I think ping should work. Let me see. Ports are still down here on router number 2. If the line protocol will come up, it means it is working. Config interface F0/0, no shutdown. You can see port is up, IP address 10.1.2.255.255.255.0 and ping 10.1.1. Networking working, you can see ping is working. Here also you can see the cabling. In the networking, cable matters, guys, because cable decide the speed, distance, reliability, right? Where devices can be connected through which cable, right? When we have wireless networking everywhere, then also 90% real-time traffic travels on physical wire only, right? In your data center, enterprises network, ISP, service provider network, and cables has three families. Number one, copper cable, the Ethernet cable, right, where your data travel in form of electrical signal. Second one is fiber cable, where your data travel in form of light, right? And data is going to travel at the rate of, at the speed of light. How many of you know the speed of light? Very fast.
8.
Fiber cable works on
Yes,
total
yes.
reflection, I think. That is a topic of
300,000.
physics. That's why here speed
Can
is very high. In case of fiber, third type of cable is management cable or console cable, right? Which is used for management purpose. Like I had told you earlier as well, how you will access this router if this router is brand new. Let's say you have just purchased this router, there is no any IP address configured. In that case, you cannot access this router remotely.
You have to use console cable
Exactly.
to physically access the.
You have to use management cable, you can say, or console cable, you can say. So I will connect here. You can see I have console cable, and where I will connect this cable, console cable, on the console port. If you will check the physical ports, then here you can see the console port. Is it visible on the router? This port is console port. So you will insert one end of the console cable on this port and one end on the PC.
Nowadays, by the way, the console ports are also coming up in micro USBs and USB-Cs as well.
Correct, correct.
It is a combination with the RJ45 standard connector.
Correct, correct. See, this is how console cable looks like. Let me open an image.
just to confirm you, sir, for the higher speed, we can use the 4 pairs. In CCNA, page 50 on the book,
Absolutely.
we have that.
This is what?
Okay.
This is console cable. You will put this one and the RJ45 connector in your router on the console port, and this is USB port. If you will not have the USB port on the cable, maybe sometime you will have the serial port. There you have to use converter. Right. So select the console cable here, put it on the console port, and here on which port? And then you can open any terminal to access your router. Here you can see I got the access. This is how you will access your.
Sir, can you show that cable again? The USB cable. One end is RJ45. That goes into what?
RJ45 will go to the router.
Okay, and the
Here.
micro USB goes into your PC.
Your PC, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Most common console cable is this one. See here, right? But you cannot connect this serial port on your laptop. So here you have to use connector, like this kind of connector. See, right? Serial
Praphul,
to.
just a quick clarity. Just a quick clarity. So that's not a micro USB. It's just a USB.
Yeah, that's a USB A.
This is USB. Whatever connector you want, you can find on the internet based on your laptop ports.
Yeah, someone said that micro USB is also.
Yeah,
so the micro USB
it's the port
is the
I'm
type of
referring to
console-
on that
It's
device.
a type of console port.
A lot of
So
people
if
talk and simultaneously, it's very hard to understand.
So the micro USB is a type of console port. So you're going to have the RJ45 console port. You're going to have a micro USB console port, and there's also now a Type C console port, and those are the newer ones. So, Praful, if you could just set the image micro USB console port,
Here you can see now on the
it will
screen.
show on the device. Yes, on the device itself. So they
On
can
this
have
router,
that.
it's not there. On my router,
No,
only
just an image on the
RJ45.
internet. Yes, just an image on the internet, so he can see that there are other types of console ports.
You can just Google ISR C1117. It's a SD-WAN enabled router that does have a micro USB console port.
See here.
The
Sir, the
2960 you were
micro,
showing us it.
so the USB part going to the router or the device, and the other part is for laptop, right?
Correct, correct. On newer routers, you will find the USB port, micro USB port, C-type port on the routers. So there you can connect that connector as well. You can find the router on the internet. We'll see it, no worry. So this is my another family of cable manage for the management and console configuration. So generally in the CCNA we need to learn these three types of cables. Basic of Ethernet cable, basic of fiber cable, basic of management. You should have idea when to use which cable. First one is Ethernet cable. I already told you. In Ethernet we have two types of cable, STP, UTP. Then copper cable is categorized into category. Earlier we were using Cat 4, Cat 3, right? In the older time, remember the token ring technology. Nowadays we are not using those categories in our networking, right? So you can learn from here Cat 5, Cat 5e, Cat 6, Cat 6a, Cat 7, and even today Cat 8. So you can see based on speed and distance we have multiple categories of copper cable. Cat 5 is going to give you 100 Mbps of speed, 100 meter distance, and we were using in old network. Cat 5e is most common used cable in the enterprise network, right, which provide 1 Gbps of speed, 100 meter distance, used in home and a small office. Cat 6 is the most commonly used cable, not Cat 5e, right? It can provide up to 10 Gbps of speed in short distance for up to 50 meters of distance, designed for corporate network. And Cat 6a is designed for data center, which provide 10 Mbps of speed for up to 100 meters of distance. And Cat 7, Cat 8 can provide up to 40 Gbps of speed in short distance, special for servers in the data center.
Usually used in patching only from switch to server in a short range.
Yes. Here is a standard, right? We have two standard, T568A. Who will explain this? A standard means what? A standard means like something common, like on all laptop you will find the USB port, or on legacy router, right? RJ45 console port right, is there. Even you have seen in packet tracer. So that is what, that is one standard. On my laptop, on your laptop, on both the laptop, we have LAN port where we can insert RJ45 connector. That is a standard. So this is also one standard. Two standards are there, A and B, T568A, T568B. Anyone want to explain this in more detail, what it is? These two standard.
Is it to make the crossover and straight through?
No, no.
Yeah, I think
In a straight
mostly
through and
electricians, yeah,
in a straight
use
through
this
and
pin style.
crossover, in both you can use either A and B. You can use both A and B, right? A straight through and crossover depends like how we are connecting one end and another end. Based on that, we have different types of copper cable. Leave. Then here you can see a straight through cable used to connect different types of devices. Now tell me one thing, router and PC, these two are different categories of devices or same categories of devices? Router and PC.
Different.
Same.
Both
No,
are
different.
same categories of devices. This is exceptional, right? See, when I am saying different categories of devices means how the port which is designed for the communication over network is designed, right? So like in the PC and router, you have similar kind of ports, same port, right? So that's why we are saying routers and PCs both are same categories of devices. This is exceptional.
So it means we have to use crossover?
Yes, here you have to use
between
crossover.
router and PC.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. Crossover. This is only exceptional, right? But between router and switch, straight through. Between switch and PC, straight through. Yes.
So these days is required to follow the crossover straight over cable structure.
No,
or we can
both are Ethernet cable only.
no for the communication. No. So do you need to follow the straight through cable or the cross through cable concept,
Nowadays
or
you
we can
don't
connect?
need to follow.
Yes. Okay.
Straight through is used to connect PC to switch, router to switch, server to switch. Why? Because you can see TX pin of one device connect to RX pin of other device, right? TX pin like one PC and switch. So let's suppose this PC is sending data on TX port pin number 1. So pin number 1 is RX over here on the switch, right? So PC will send the data over here on the same port. Switch is going to receive the data. It is like that. And in the crossover, used to connect different types of devices. Sorry, same types of devices like switch to switch, router to router, PC to PC, and one exceptional, PC to router. Same types of devices send and receive on the same pin. So crossover swap them. Okay. And here you can see why you don't need to care about the straight through and crossover, because this is a technology, auto MDIX. This technology nowadays, whatever networking devices we have, all support auto MDIX, and this can automatically sense your cable. It has capability to make a straight through cable to the crossover cable and crossover cable to a straight through cable. So modern Cisco devices support auto MDIX, so they can detect cable type automatically.
So you said Cisco devices. What about the other
Other
vendors?
devices as well, other vendor devices as well. Actually, I have not designed this PPT. That's why, no problem. Then rollover or console cable or management cable, used for management purpose. For initial configuration, password recovery, let's suppose you have forget the password of telnet or SSH, or telnet or SSH is not working on the device, right? The remote access is getting fail. In that case, how you will access your router? Through console cable, or you can say rollover cable or management cable. In case of troubleshooting, downtime, initial configuration, and password recovery, you can add more examples as well here. Then fiber cable. Fiber uses light, not electricity. Ethernet cable use or copper cable use electricity. Data travel in form of electrical signal, and fiber uses light. That's why we are saying data travel at the speed of light in case of fiber cable. Immunity to interference, ultra high speed, and there are mainly two types of fiber cable, multi-mode and single mode. How you can identify the multi-mode and single mode cable? Let's suppose I'm searching fiber cable on the internet only, and if I will ask you, this is multi-mode or single mode?
Usually the single modes are yellow color. Multi modes are like cyan or green, if you wanna call it.
It depends
Green
on
or
the
orange?
core size of that
Orange.
class.
Orange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There
No,
are
no.
different
Depends
colors,
on the
like there are
color.
orange.
How we identify the Ethernet cable? This is a straight through cable, or the crossover cable, or console cable, Cat 5, Cat 6. How you will identify that?
They usually have
For
Usually
the
there's
Ethernet, it's
printed on
actually
the
written on the
cable.
cable. It's printed
Yeah,
on the
it's
Yes,
cable.
actually written.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. That will be labeled
But
on your cable. See
He
here.
said usually.
but
He said.
Cat 6 is actually thinner.
He said usually what?
Here you can see it is Cat 5.
It's printed.
This is Cat 5e, right? So on the Ethernet cable, it will be labeled,
Mm.
right? And the experienced one or the technician guys, whoever are working at the physical layer, can even identify by looking at the cable, right? Some cables are thin, right?
Yeah, the
That way,
Cat 6 usually thinner
thinner.
compared to the Cat 4, 5, and 5e. They all look the same unless you read it on the cable. You can't tell.
Correct, correct. And for the fiber cable, you can identify through color. So see, yellow color cable is
Single mode mostly.
yellow color cable is single mode.
Multi-mode.
Single mode or multi mode?
Yellow is single mode. The multi-mode is usually green or cyan color, you want to call it. That's an SC connector and a single mode simplex cable.
This one,
That's what that is.
correct. And if I will show you the multi mode fiber cable, so see the color green, orange, LC to LC 20.
Yeah, that's a duplex LC connector.
Is
Some
that
See
the
the,
only way to tell the difference? Is the colors?
yes,
Yeah, some people follow a cabling standard. They only use a certain type of color of multi-mode cable.
I mean, it's not necessarily true. Like fiber core is the reason, like, 850, 1310, 1550, those are the core reflections that tells you what type of cable that you need to use based on distance. And that gives you a definition of single mode, multi-mode.
Okay. Then someone already said single mode is used for long distance, multi-mode is used for short distance, multi-mode. In short, we are saying MMF. Here you can see the color generally. Orange and aqua cable. That means this is, if you are able to see any orange color cable, that is multi-mode cable, right? Short distance 500 meter to 700 meter. Is it true?
Yeah, correct. It's usually short distance 400 to 700.
Lower cost, less LED light, inside same building. Like between distribution layer and access layer, most of the time you will be using multi-mode fiber cable only. If you remember our even last class lab, there I had used lots of cables between access layer and distribution layer. This cable will be generally multi-mode fiber cable. So you know, connecting N devices, multiple N devices together through access layer, which cable you will use here? Copper cable.
Copper cable.
Cat6 5B. Here to make it simple, I can say these are my Cat6 cable and these are multi-mode
Multi-mode.
fiber cable. And single mode for long distance. You can see up to 40 kilometer, 80 kilometer, even 100 kilometer. Uses laser light. Expensive but extremely powerful. Because let's suppose you have two data center in different city. If you are going to use your own cable, right? There are n number of benefit of using on cable. Means your network is still private inside. There is no any involvement of public network. Without having any security feature, you can exchange the data. Generally, we are using in the ISP network, in campus, between the building, right? Data center backbone, in metro Ethernet. And here is the fiber connector LC, SC, ST, as I think Mayur said. Modern switches, SAP module. Let me take you to this space or one slide
Praphul,
is
will you be
missing.
sharing this slide?
Yeah, sir, I will definitely share, no problem. Just after the class, I will share in your group. Right, so these are the connector. Like for Ethernet, you have RJ45 connector. If I will search in the Google, LC fiber connector. It is going to look like this. LC and SC fiber connector. Here you can see the difference. If you guys can see some difference. That even this is cover, right?
The cover is
Yes.
just to protect it from dust.
Correct.
Dust.
That is just to protect the
It
dust.
is more of the
You will
thickness.
remove that cover and after that you can insert on SFP. And here is the SFP module, you can see. Even if I will show you the picture. So you can see here we can insert the fiber cable, right? This cable.
Yes, sir.
Two ports are there. Can anyone tell me why? Two ports. One is
Transmission and
Receive
receiving.
correct.
RxTX.
TX and
R-
RX. Right. Similarly, you can visualize other connectors and SFP as well. Right. So based on cable you will be using SFP. Then coaxial cable, note for networking. This is for CCTV cameras, TVs, Wi-Fi antennas, right? No need to learn. Here is some examples like cable used to connect switch to PC, straight through Cat6. These
Just a
are
correction,
mm,
Praful. The coax is still in use in the market in broadband, in HFC model, hybrid fiber coaxial, where you will have coaxial plugged into a DOCSIS 3.0, 2.0, depending. 3.0 has a higher speed. You could get up to 100 meg speed of a coax plugged into a modem, then Ethernet wired into a router. It's still there. The technology is still in use, by the way.
coaxial cable is not used in enterprise network. Okay,
Not in enterprise. Yes, correct.
like this you can say and leave. Then
And
here,
even in the data center, coax is used for GPS signaling. There are GPS services that uses coax.
correct. So coaxial cable is which type of cable it is? Coaxial. Is it the fiber
It's u-
cable?
no, it's usually copper. Round with a BNC connector is what is used for coax.
Yes. This is also copper cable only with
Yeah.
different connector. Okay, here are some example. Like sometime interview can also ask you these kinds of question, and in the CCNA exam also you can get these kinds of question like which cable I should use to connect switch and PC. Even when we have auto MDIX technology, then also as a network engineer you should have idea. As you are preparing for CCNA exam, you should have idea when to use a straight through, when to use copper cable. That is the only thing which you need to understand here in the cabling part, right? The use case of single mode and multi-mode fiber cable, how to identify, and in the copper cable when to use which cable. So to connect PC and switch.
Yeah, when I was going through the boson thing, there was this question related to single mode and multi mode,
Correct.
and they were asking about how like distance, what distance should you use when it comes to single mode, when it comes to multi mode, and they were also talking about nanometer. I see a number 850 nanometer, and the other one is 1000 1550 nanometer.
1550, 1310, 1390, 1440. Those are wavelengths for the fiber.
Hmm.
That's a
The
wavelength.
wavelengths, exactly. Yes,
That's a
the
wavelength.
wavelengths. Yeah, I got this answer wrong because I didn't really know.
Now
Yeah, now I think the 850 nanometers is used with the multi mode, and the other one is used with the single mode.
good. So
Mm.
to connect PC and switch you will use a straight through. You can use Cat6, and here are the reason: cost effective, 100 meter of distance, switch to switch, most of the time multi-mode fiber cable with this SFP and connector. Reason: high bandwidth between the switches, EMI free, safe for long cable path. What it mean EMI free?
That's emission
Electromagnetic
free.
signals.
Electromagnetic.
Emission free.
Hmm. And between distribution and core, if distance is huge, then single mode, otherwise multi-mode fiber cable. Both will be used between distribution and core. Generally, in the enterprises, you will not find your Ethernet cable between core layer and distribution layer. Here, you can find the Ethernet copper cable as well. Many times you will see copper cable. But between core and distribution, fiber cable, because here we need high speed. Core layer are responsible for WAN routing, right? Going to handle huge traffic. These switches are only handling the LAN traffic between multiple VLANs.
Sir, is dark fiber also in a category of the single mode, or if there is a separate any specific categories under the any mode for the fiber for the black fiber? Mostly used on submarine cables or underground cable. Is there any other special category of the fiber they are used, or is the same thing?
What I didn't get
The
you.
technology wise.
Dark fiber is called dark fiber because there is no light.
Submarine cable.
It Yeah, the submarine cables. Those are very special cables. They are again it
Those are
needs to be
connecting
polluted.
countries
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
connecting multiple building campuses, right? To design CAN network, campus area network, single mode fiber cable, and here you can see the SFP connector, generally which we are using ZR, ER, LR. When to use LR,
long range.
ER, ZR,
Extended range.
extended range,
Yes, sir.
and ZR, you can Google it, no problem. Distance 40 kilometer, 1 to 40 kilometer, like in the campuses, like in a college, multiple buildings are there, and even the colleges can have multiple buildings within the city, and distance is 5 kilometer, 6 kilometer, like that. Switch to server in the data center, cat 6, and multi-mode fiber cable as well, right? Like to connect server and switch. See, your PC will not have, generally PC don't have the fiber port, but on the server you will have fiber port as well. And on the server you will connect multiple ports to the network for the failover, even for the load balancing as well, because server need very high speed. And router to ISP, again single mode, like in the broadband, whoever are using internet, broadband internet, right? Here also we are using fiber cable only. They will connect their router, maybe their router is on the terrace and they have installed one broadband router in your home, and which cable they will connect in between? Fiber cable. Then for the configuration, management cable, that's it. So see, in LAN designing, this is about the physical layer, not much important, but important for CCNA exam. Here you have seen we have the topic single mode, multi-mode, fiber and copper. After that, connector, Ethernet, CR media, and point-to-point connection. What do you mean by point-to-point connection? Can anyone tell me?
One-to-one connection.
The difference between CR media and point-to-point?
Point to point is
Point to
just
point.
from one point to another, essentially, from one device to
Yeah,
another,
two routers.
one port to another.
One device to
Just
another
one to
device.
one.
Two devices
Yeah,
are connected together, like here router 1 and router 2. This is point-to-point connection. Earlier we were using serial cable here, if you remember. Anyone have idea? Then CR means, like, see this link. Let's suppose here this link. This link is shared, like these all PCs are going to send data through this single link, right? If PC1 want to access internet, that will go through this link only. PC2, PC3, all traffic, all the data will travel through this link only. This is shared Ethernet. Ethernet is shared link. Ethernet is shared link. Like here between order 1 and order 2 in OSPF you will learn. Like if you will enable OSPF on the Ethernet port, then OSPF network type is going to be broadcast, which is generally required for share media. And manually you have to change network type. You will configure point to point, then it will improve the performance. In OSPF we'll discuss that, point to point. Why? I will tell you why we are changing the network type of OSPF between two router. By default network type on the Ethernet is broadcast. So these are some topics from the cablings and connectors.
Sir, in the topology, there's some topics like two-tier, three-tier, and span and leaf. Are we going to discuss in a later on
We have
session?
discussed two-tier.
No, in so later on you told that later on we can discuss after the
Have we
completion of the all
discussed
topics.
three-tier?
No, sir, the
Three-tier is
three
the
and the
same one which we had configured yesterday. That is three-tier architecture, when you have access layer, distribution layer, and core layer.
core.
And if you
Yeah,
will
we just
remove core
we
layer,
we just
from,
didn't say it, but we did it.
yes, exactly. Right, this is architecture, means how you are connecting devices together.
We're gonna discuss spine and leaf design though.
Yes, exactly. For Nexus devices, we'll discuss spine and leaf. Two-tier and three-tier is already covered. When we will discuss LAN, we have
Are we
already
going to
discussed.
use Nexus devices in this course?
We are not going to use Nexus devices. We are going to learn Nexus devices. Going to talk about Nexus devices.
Okay.
That why in data center we are not using Catalyst. Earlier we were using Catalyst only in the data center as well, right? But Catalyst switches doesn't support SAN storage devices. SAN network. How many
Yeah.
of you know the SAN storage area network?
Yeah, storage area network.
So we will discuss.
I know
We will have
about
the
it.
overview, basic introduction of data center network, spine and leaf architecture. Spine leaf architecture and two-tier architecture both are same with different devices, right? So access layer, then distribution layer, then core layer, and after that WAN is three-tier architecture. Access layer, distribution layer, and WAN architecture is two-tier architecture. So there is nothing to discuss. After that,
So then why came like two-tier and three-tier? Means is there any any differences or flexibility has come to the
yes,
for
yes,
the
differences is in term of performance, in term of scalability, stability, right? This is three-tier architecture is most common network architecture for enterprises. Spine and leaf is architecture for data center network, right? But in the small offices, you don't need to design three-tier architecture. You can have two-tier and that will also work fine.
okay, sir.
When we don't have
And
much WAN traffic, right? Few WAN traffic and lots of LAN traffic, then you will design two-tier architecture. Core layer is mainly for WAN, right? When you are handling huge amount of WAN traffic.
Ideally, in the service provider environment as well, ISPs they do use three-tier model.
Enterprises also
Again,
use three-tier
yeah,
model.
yeah, they both, yeah, enterprises, and ISPs.
ISP, yes.
Sir, I have a question.
And in NANP, we are learning which network? We are mastering enterprise network, right? In the enterprise network, majority of the traffic is going to be bottom to top, like in our lab. Where is my lab? Here it is. Like here, you can see What we have discussed, like how these users are accessing internet. There only we have discussed the failover for gateway. Majority of the traffic is bottom to users are generating for outside, right? And maybe users are generating traffic for cloud, that is also bottom to top. Traffic is going in this direction. And which architecture, which tier architecture it is?
3 tier.
This
This
is
is a
3-tier
3-tier
architecture.
architecture.
Correct. Yes, go ahead. Someone was asking question.
Yeah, I have a question. All this protocol, well, we have seen. Well, we only think about IPv4, not IPv6.
IP is for
For example,
IP is for routing, right?
for example,
Like here,
HSRP and JLP, is it going to be different for
no,
IPv6?
it is going to be same,
Okay.
right? Even all the routing
So,
protocols is going to be same. Whatever we need to discuss in IPv6, definitely I will discuss that. No worry. First understand IPv4.
okay.
Protocols are going to work exactly same. Whatever topic we have discussed in the LAN, can anyone remind me? If I will tell you, then see. You guys can just say yes or no. I know, yes or no. You can answer in yes, no. Means yes, Praphul, I know this. Yes, Praphul, I still have some confusion in this. Switch. And before switching, I'm not talking about basic module like the packet flow, OSI model, TCP/IP model, encapsulation, decapsulation. Apart from that, I'm starting from the switch. You all know the switch? Each and every one.
Yes, sir.
You all know the broadcast domain and collision domain.
Yes, sir.
Broadcast domain and collision domain.
Yes.
You all know the duplex.
Yeah.
You all
Yes.
know the cam table.
Yeah.
MAC address table. You all know the frame, Ethernet frame. Data at layer 2.
Yes.
In the MAC address table or cam table, you also know the aging time and what? Dynamic and static entry, a non-unicast flooding, MAC
Yes.
flapping. Those are part of cam table.
Switch.
Yes. MAC address table you can say. Then you all know the VLAN. Why do we need VLAN?
Yes.
VLAN bus,
Yes.
subnet, access port, trunk port. Correct?
Yes.
So in a
Yes.
VLAN, there's some type of VLANs like private VLAN, isolation VLAN. Are we covered that? I don't recall. That's why I'm asking.
See, one
It's
topic is still
required.
missing, that is private VLAN. Let me discuss private VLAN now. Very good. See, private,
It's very different. It's very different from the regular VLAN.
yeah, it is very different. Private VLAN. What is private VLAN? Private VLAN allow you to isolate devices, users inside the same VLAN. Inside the same VLAN, can I isolate the user? Yes, I can isolate the user with the help of
Private
private
VLAN.
VLAN. See, for
Is
an
it like a DMZ, but in another context?
no, it is not like the DMG. It is like, remember the switch port protected. Switch port protected is
Mm-hmm.
used to stop the communication at layer 2, right?
Yes.
Let's suppose I have a network like this, or I have lots of user in a building. I have lots of user inside a building, and the building is connected with ISP, Internet Service Provider. and here your subnet is 10.1.1.0 or 10.0.0.0/8. So what will happen here? All the devices can talk with each other. All the devices can access internet. Correct? If these are the server, all the server can talk with each other.
Yes.
All the server can access each other. They can exchange data as well as viruses. Where is the department? No department. So if you need to create multiple segment here, right? Let's say these two users and these two users should be able to communicate, but they should not be able to communicate with each other. What you will do? You will create the VLAN. Let's suppose here I have assigned this user in VLAN 10 and this user in VLAN 20. Now can these VLAN 10 users and 20 users access internet? No, you have to configure inter-VLAN routing. If you will configure inter-VLAN routing, then can they communicate? Yes, then they can access internet as well as they can communicate with each other. So private VLAN allow you to segment users within the VLAN. Total how many VLANs we have, guys? Total how many VLANs we have?
4096.
4096. Right. So in the ISP side, you will have lots of devices. The network size is going to be very large. Don't you think sometime this VLAN can be
Mr. Rich, you're welcome. 622. Oh, okay.
sometimes this VLAN cannot be the sufficient, right?
Perfect.
We can create
Yeah, have a nice day.
4096.
You're welcome. Happy holidays too. Thank you.
Aaron, you
Haruna,
are not
please
muted.
mute yourself.
Aaron, please. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mute it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need more VLAN, right? Through private VLAN, you can create 4096 multiply by 4096 VLANs. You will understand how. But private VLAN allow you to segment users inside the same VLAN, and it allow you to control communication at layer 2. See, if I am going to use multiple VLANs here, I also have to use multiple subnets, right? For inter-VLAN routing. So for the enterprises, for a small network, we don't need private VLAN. But in the ISP service provider, when my network is very large, in that case, you will be using private VLAN to isolate or to segment users inside the same VLAN, right? Private VLAN allow you to create a primary VLAN here. Primary VLAN, let's say my primary VLAN is VLAN 100. And inside this VLAN, I can create multiple sub VLAN. What? Multiple sub VLAN. And for outside, let's suppose I have switch 1 and switch 2. Here on switch number 1, I have created primary VLAN what? 100. And inside that primary VLAN, I have lots of, I can have how many sub VLAN? 4094, right? 4096. So my primary VLAN over here is VLAN 100, and inside the primary VLAN, I can again divide my VLAN into 4096 part. And outside means switch 2 is going to understand this entire VLANs, sub VLANs with a single VLAN, that is primary VLAN 100. Getting my point? Similarly, on switch number 2, you can create another primary VLAN, let's say primary VLAN 200, and inside this primary VLAN, you can create multiple secondary VLAN. Like how many secondary VLAN? 4096 secondary VLAN. And then you can segment the users. understand the power of private VLAN. This is very powerful feature. How I don't know how I had forget this topic in the switching. Right. So primary VLAN is, what is primary VLAN? What can be the definition? I can say primary VLAN allow you to segment users into sub VLAN. Into
You mean private villain or
primary
primary
VLAN.
villain?
Private
Primary.
VLAN allow you to segment the users inside the same VLAN. Private VLAN allow you to segment users inside the
Same villain.
same VLAN. Right.
And then primary.
Inside the same VLAN, let's say in VLAN 100 I have 1000 devices. Can you segment devices? If I want two devices should not talk with each other, can we do that? No, we can't. Right, then you have to configure switch port protected. Maybe you will configure switch port protected. Again, switch port protected will not work between the switches. Like on switch number 1 here I have configured some port as protected. Switch 2 don't know about that. That is used to drop the traffic at layer 2 on local switch. Right, so this is different from the switch port protected. Private VLAN allow you to segment users inside same VLAN. Imagine you have VLAN 100. VLAN 100 and you have some servers connected to access layer switch, and all servers are in same subnet. All servers are in same subnet. If you want to segment, you have to use different subnets, right? For as per VLAN. Right, for VLAN 100 I can have another subnet, for VLAN 101 I can have another subnet. But can I segment the users inside the same VLAN with single subnet? Yes, you can do that with the help of private VLAN only. Right, means servers are in same IPv4 subnet, are in same VLAN, but then also they are segmented, grouped. You can create multiple logical group inside the single VLAN. That a small VLAN or logical grouping of sub VLAN can called as sub VLAN. Right, like this. Switch connected with multiple servers or PCs. Let's suppose these two users belongs to single department, same department, and this user belongs to different departments, and I want to keep these all devices in same IPv4 subnet. Tell me one thing first. If I will segment through VLAN, right, like these two PCs are in VLAN 10 and these two PCs are in, or this PC is in VLAN 30, this PC is in VLAN 40. Can I use same subnet, same IPv4 subnet for all the VLANs?
No.
You can't use, right? Otherwise you cannot configure inter-VLAN routing then. So how we can segment that? We can segment this with the help of private VLAN. Or let's suppose in the building, let's say here, as I said, I have lots of users. I don't want these users should communicate with each other. Right, all should be able to access internet but not be able to talk with each other. Then you have to keep every user in different VLAN. Am I right?
Yes.
This PC in different VLAN, this PC in different VLAN, and for all the VLAN you have to use a dedicated IPv4 subnet. That is not scalable again. So these scenarios are the need of private VLAN. Here your private VLAN, through private VLAN you can achieve this. These all devices will be in the same IPv4 subnet, and then also you can segment. You can create multiple logical group. Let's suppose server 1 want to ping with this server, they can communicate, but they can't communicate with this PC, and all can access internet, right? This server cannot resolve the MAC address of this server. Your ARP, even ARP packet will drop at layer 2. So all devices can talk with each other in this scenario, but I don't want that, right? Let's suppose 1000 employees are there in my company. I don't want anyone to talk with each other, but all should be able to access the DC, all should be able to access remote site server or server in different subnet, all should be able to access the gateway. There you will configure private VLAN. So see now what is private VLAN. This is why do we need private VLAN. Allows you to keep devices in the same VLAN and same subnet, but restrict at layer 2 or restrict layer 2 communication. Which is not possible through normal VLAN.
So can we say that it's a VLAN under a VLAN?
Yes, you can say VLAN under VLAN. You can say
Okay.
private VLAN allow us to create sub VLAN inside a single VLAN. And any VLAN can be the primary VLAN. Any VLAN can be the secondary VLAN, sub VLAN.
So there will be 2 tags on the packets, or?
No, what I told you, for outside switch number 2 is going to know about primary VLAN only. Switch number 2 will never came to know about the secondary VLAN. That is local on the switch. See.
Sir, one doubt. But this private VLANs, can they communicate or send data through the internet to each other?
Correct.
Okay.
Let me tell you the working. Private VLAN. There are 2 types of private VLAN is categorized into 2 parts. First one is primary VLAN and secondary VLAN. Primary VLAN, or you can say the main VLAN. In the book, it's primary VLAN, which is nothing but
noise.
Can you
Gideon, mute please.
You'll have to mute him.
this. Primary VLAN is your main VLAN and secondary VLAN is sub VLAN. What I can say, sub VLANs inside sub VLAN inside primary VLAN, and again secondary VLAN is categorized into 2 parts. Types of secondary VLAN. So secondary VLAN is again categorized into two parts. See, primary, secondary, and now secondary is categorized into two parts, communities and isolated. Community VLAN and isolated VLAN. Isolated VLAN. Now what you need to understand here is isolated. Host cannot talk with each other. Devices which are in isolated VLAN. Let's suppose VLAN 105 is the isolated VLAN. So whoever are the member of VLAN 105 cannot talk with each other, but all the secondary VLAN users can talk with primary VLAN. Remember that. Host can not talk to each other, can talk only to primary VLAN. And actually, you know, the port which are part of primary VLAN will be configured as Prometheus port. Prometheus port is a types of port in primary VLAN. I will talk about that. So all the isolated VLAN users can talk with Prometheus port, miss, or you can say with primary VLAN. Even secondary VLAN can talk with primary VLAN. You can say like that, because both are the part of secondary VLAN only. So isolated VLAN can also talk with primary, and community can also talk with primary. But isolated and isolated cannot talk, like switch port protected. It is similar like switch port protected. And community, host can talk within the same community. Host can talk within the community, but can't communicate with other community, but can't talk between the community. Other communities, and both can talk to, like community as well as isolated can talk with primary VLAN. So let's suppose here I have a requirement, very simple requirement. Switch 1, switch 2, switch, only one switch, switch 1, which is connected with my gateway. Switch 1, which is connected with gateway. And this gateway is connected with internet. So everyone in the LAN should be able to access internet first of all. Able to talk with gateway. It means what? It means this port is going to be the part of which VLAN? Primary VLAN. Everyone should be able to talk, right? All the VLAN traffic should be allowed here. Primary VLAN. And here are some users. Let's suppose these two users. These two users should be able to communicate with each other. These two users should be able to communicate with each other. But first two users and last two users should not be able to communicate with each other. Can I put these two pieces in different community? Here I can create two community VLAN. Community VLAN 10 or 101 and community VLAN 102, and my primary VLAN is 100. So community can talk with 100, right? VLAN 101 and VLAN 102 can talk with VLAN 100, no problem. Users inside the community VLAN 101 can talk with each other. User inside the community VLAN 102 can talk with each other. But can community 101 and 2 talk with each other?
No.
No, right? It means all these users can access internet, right? These two users can talk with each other. These two users can talk with each other, but these 4 users cannot talk with each other. And there are some other clients. These devices should be only allowed to access internet, should not be able to talk with each other. What you will do? You will create an isolated VLAN for these user. Isolated VLAN. I don't need multiple isolated VLAN. Yes or no? Let's say 103. So whoever should not be able to communicate with each other, only should be able to access internet or default gateway, will be the part of isolated VLAN. Do I need to create isolated VLAN 104? Not required, Praphul. Yes or no?
Right.
So inside one primary VLAN you can have only one isolated VLAN, and you can create multiple community VLANs. You can create multiple community VLAN, and there are 2 types of port. One is host and one is Prometheus. So the port of primary VLAN will be configured as Prometheus, and the ports of these hosts and users will be configured as host. That's it. This is private VLAN. See how I have customized the users at layer 2 very easily. Even you can do this with the help of multiple subnet, with the help of multiple VLAN, with the help of VLAN routing, and after that you have to configure policies at distribution layer to block the communication. That is going to be challenging and complex, difficult in the large network, right? So private VLAN simplify the complexity in the large network at layer
Sir,
2 for the
before you go, can the isolated communicate with the community?
No, isolate cannot talk with community. Isolate can only talk. Secondary VLAN can talk with primary VLAN first of all. After that, users within the community can talk with each other, but cannot talk with other community, as well as cannot talk with isolated. Isolated cannot talk with community as well as other isolated member.
Okay.
Right. So all the ports where all the ports which are the part of secondary VLAN will be configured as host. Ports will be configured as host, and the port of primary VLAN will be configured as Prometheus. Prometheus, whatever you can pronunciate, right? If I will talk about the configuration very quickly, let me show you the configuration as well. Private VLAN. I have to check commands are available on the switch or not. Let's say switch 1. Connected with a router R1. And some, let's say, users VPC. I'm going to take, let's suppose, 5 VPC. PC1, PC2. What I want, these two PCs should be able to communicate with each other. And PC3 and PC4 should not be able to communicate with each other. I will put these PCs in isolated VLAN and delete this PC, not required for. Let's have a simple lab. If commands are available, then I can show you the configuration. Otherwise, I can give you the commands in Notepad. You can keep it. Let me access switch 1 and let me create a primary VLAN first.
So will this work on GNS3 or just on EVNG?
In the GNS3, do you have switch?
Yeah, I do. Well,
If you have the switch, it will work.
but not on packet tracer.
You can test. On packet tracer, again, we have multiple switches, right? So you can check on all the switches if any one switch can support some commands.
Praphul, do you use all VIOS images or Dynamics or IOL images?
VIOS.
You don't use any chemo images, right? Like they're quite heavy, the chemo images.
Correct.
Okay.
So let's say VLAN 10. Here what I can say, private VLAN community. If you want to create this VLAN community and see put question mark, I can configure this VLAN as primary VLAN, isolated VLAN and community VLAN. This is not for us, this is for between switches, and this is also not for us for now. We can configure these three modes for private VLAN on the switch. So I want, let's say VLAN 10 should be my community VLAN. I want these users. What I want, these users, these two users are, let's suppose, sales user. Sales user. IPv4 subnet is same. We will not use different subnet for sales. Otherwise, that is going to be inter-VLAN routing scenario. And let's say this person is account person, right? So account person should have access to internet, but should not be able to talk with sales guys. Okay, so I am going to configure here VLAN community VLAN, and community VLAN is going to be my VLAN 10. VLAN 10, and for a content I will configure VLAN, let's suppose 20. And these two VLANs will be the part of one primary VLAN. Let me show you. A private VLAN, community, and VLAN 10 is already there. Community, enter. Private VLAN can only be configured when VTP is in transparent or off mode. So let me say VTP mode off, and then VLAN 10. Okay, after that exit VLAN 20. What I said, VLAN 20 should be my private VLAN and isolated. VLAN 20 is isolated, VLAN 10 is community. You can verify that. Do so private VLAN, private do so VLAN and private VLAN. Here you can see VLAN 10 is community VLAN, VLAN 20 is isolated VLAN. Now let me create one VLAN, VLAN 100, VLAN 100, and I am saying private VLAN primary. This VLAN is the primary VLAN. Then private VLAN and association. This primary VLAN is associated to which VLAN? VLAN 10 and 20. Means VLAN 10 and 20 are the part of primary VLAN, VLAN 100. Right? These two are the association of this VLAN. Clear? Command is clear?
Yeah.
Now if you will check, do so VLAN and private VLAN, you can use question mark as well to find the command, no problem. You can see my primary VLAN is VLAN 100. I have two secondary VLAN, one private VLAN, two secondary VLAN, and both the secondary VLAN are part of same primary VLAN, right? And here you can see the type of secondary VLAN. This is type of secondary VLAN. Now let me take you to G0/0 interface. G0/0 is connected with PC1. Interface G0/0. Switch port, mode, private VLAN and host. What I told you, this is port role, and after that switch port, private VLAN and host association. In which VLAN you are going to put this port?
10, I think.
First you will define the primary VLAN, then secondary VLAN. VLAN 100, if you will put question mark here, you can see it is asking for primary VLAN number. Primary VLAN is 100, and after that secondary VLAN. Secondary VLAN is 10. So like this you will assign port into the VLAN. Exit interface G0/1. This port, switch port, mode, private VLAN, and mode is going to be host, and after that switch port, private VLAN and host association VLAN 100, and I am going to put it in same VLAN.
10.
VLAN
10.
Or you can use the range command as well, that will also work. But interface G0/2, switch port, mode, private VLAN, host, and switch port, private VLAN, host association. This port is going to be part of VLAN 100 and 20, which is
community.
And now
Isolated.
Sorry. Yes. Now do so VLAN and then private VLAN. Here you can see the ports. Correct. Now if I will configure IP address from same IPv4 subnet, IP 10.1.1/24, and gateway is 10.1.100, let's say. On PC2, IP 10.1.2/24 and gateway 10.1.100, and go to PC3 and say IP 10.1.3/24. See, I am configuring same IP address from the same subnet on different VLAN devices. 10.1.1.100. Now you can verify the communication.
So it means you can ping from PC1 to PC2, but not to PC3.
Ping,
isn't it?
10. Yes, 10.1. Ping is working. Let me try to ping PC3. Is ping working? No. Similarly, I can also put PC4 in isolated VLAN. How I will put that? Tell me. Interface G0/3. Switch port, mode, private VLAN, host, and then switch port, private VLAN, switch port, VLAN, switch port, private VLAN. What was the command? Switch port, private VLAN, and
Host association. 100
and
20.
and
30.
20.
Okay.
Right. So see now, PC1 can also not ping to PC4. And can PC3 and PC4 talk with each other? Both are in isolated VLAN.
No.
No.
No. No. PC3 cannot talk with PC4. Ping 10.1.1.4. See, ping is not working. Even PC3 cannot ping to PC1, PC2 as well as PC4. And all should be able to access internet. For that I will configure primary VLAN. Go to switch and here configure this interface. Interface G1/0. Switch port, mode private VLAN, and mode should be Prometheus here. And after that switch port, private VLAN, mapping, question mark. Mapping primary VLAN is 100 and VLAN 10 and 20 are the part of this VLAN. That's it, nothing else. Now we'll go to router and configure gateway IP address there. You will see all the users are able to access internet. So private VLAN give you this kind of customization. Enable config T interface G0/0, no shutdown, IP address 100.1.100 255.255.255.0. Go to PC1 and ping from PC100 the gateway. Gateway should be reachable. It can take, switch can take 30 seconds.
There was error.
There was error.
On
so
the gateway.
IP is done.
It's 10, not 100.
So IP all. It is 100, sir.
Yeah, on the router it says 100.1.
Frustrated.
Oh, okay. On the router I have configured incorrectly. Interface G0/0. IP address 10.1.1.100. Good. See, ping has started working. When I can ping PC2, done, but I cannot ping PC3. Go to PC3, ping to gateway, ping 10.1.100. Ping working, but cannot ping PC4. Both are isolated, right? So this is a special type of customization. And another types of VLAN is the default VLAN. You already know the default VLAN, right?
Can I ask you one question, please?
Yes, please ask.
Before you go far. Okay. Can you come back to the image of our router and switch? Yeah. For example, now the PC4, if it is just VLAN 100, can it communicate with all others?
Yes, definitely. Then this is in primary VLAN. Primary VLAN can talk with secondary VLAN.
Even with isolated?
Primary.
Not the isolated, right?
Brother, primary VLAN is not going to be isolated. Secondary VLAN is categorized into two sections. How you will configure primary VLAN isolated?
No, I didn't say that. I say, you know, in the secondary VLAN, the secondary VLAN, we have two kind of configuration, community and isolated, isn't it?
Right.
So this PC4 can communicate with all?
Yes.
With all? Okay, thank you.
This PC is in isolated VLAN now. It can only talk with primary VLAN. It cannot talk with secondary VLAN. And if you will make this PC, if you will put this PC in VLAN 100, VLAN 100 is the primary VLAN, then it can talk with all the VLAN. Then it is going to be primary, not secondary. Then it will be not in isolated
that was my
VLAN.
question. It's clear now. It's okay. Thank you.
And Basudev, REST VLANs are like default VLAN, native VLAN, regular VLAN, extended VLAN, right? So those are, I think, already clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And one more topic is there. See, what will happen if this is the attacker, or the PC1 is the attacker who is sending lots of traffic on the switch. Sending lots of traffic on the switch. This user or attacker is generating a large size broadcast message again and again, lots of traffic. Then your switch can, like this user can utilize more bandwidth on the switch. It can use the more CPU of your switch. That particular thing is called broadcast storm. The attacker can not only send broadcast message, can also send unicast message, multicast message, or broadcast message to switch. So there is one feature on the switch port through which you can limit the number of bits per second. You can limit the traffic on the switch port. That is called broadcast storm. Let me write here. This is the last topic. The feature and layer 2 interfaces. Feature used on layer 2 interfaces to limit the rate of, you can say, traffic flow. Useful when any user is generating excess amount of traffic, right? When lots of traffic is coming on a switch port, right? So you can control that with the help of one command. And which type of traffic? All types of traffic: unicast, multicast, and broadcast, right? Command is this one. Let me take you to the switch again. Go to interface G0/0, and storm command is not available. This command is not available.
You're trying to do storm control?
Yes. So here command is notable. Command is storm control. Command should be here. Interface is 0/1/1.
Are you sure that the storm command should be used under the interface?
Yes.
Um,
Interface have 0/0, 0/1. Storm control, and then broadcast, then label, and then enter the threshold. You can define the threshold value here.
that's pretty weird. It works with packet tracer and doesn't work with even G.
Yeah, on a particular switch it's not working. let's suppose I have set 100 bits per second, and then we can define that if this port is receiving traffic more than 100 bits per second, then what action this switch should take. A strong control and then action. See, action command is not there. Control So no problem, action command is not there. I will check on EVNG. I think in EVNG on other switches it was working, right? I will check, otherwise I will give you the short video for the commands. Here you can define two action, one is shutdown and one is trap. If you want, switch should send a log message whenever it is receiving more traffic on the switch port, or if you want to shut the port, then you can configure action shutdown. Okay, so this was one more a small topic, and after that after the VLAN and trunking, we have MAC casing, MAC flapping, VLAN trunking. Then we have discussed what? DTP. After that, inter VLAN routing, IVR, SVI, L3 switch. Then gateway concept. After that, STP.
So gateway concept means the FSRP GLB, right?
FHRP. STP, VTP, Ether channel, and inside these protocols, you know, like many concepts are there. Like inside the STP, we have multiple types of STP. In Ether channel also, I have multiple types of Ether channel, layer 2, layer 3. Inside STP, we have states, we have timer, topology change, types of STP. Similarly, inside the VTP also we have multiple concepts, modes of switches, right? Then messages, VTP, summary, advertisement, subset advertisement. Remember that. Some security feature of STP like root guard, right? Some feature to improve the convergence like port fast, uplink fast. After that, is there anything else we have discussed in switching? FHRP. Under FHRP, HSRP, VRRP, and GLBP. After that, L2 security. Under L2 security, DHCP snooping, dynamic ARP inspection, port security, span, switch port protected, private VLAN. Right? So I think these are the only switching topics which we have covered, and expecting that you all are clear with these all topics. Here I have not written all the topics like the L2 security topics, but now you can make a syllabus, like you can make a list of all the topics which we have covered in the switching, so that you can use that for the future reference. Like in the future you can check that all the topics are clear to me or not, or before going for any certification exam like CCNA, you can check the list of topics. It should be